Apart from the pressure that comes from the fans and the owners, especially the fans in the Philippines, Jimmy, where else does pressure come from, and how is the best way to mitigate that stress? If you had to tell a younger version of yourself, how to mitigate stress and keep calm and don't take things too personally, what would that advice sound like, and where does that pressure come from?
There's always pressure in this game. It just comes with the territory. But I think it's always important, and I tell this to our guys, especially here. We're in a country that has such a deep love and passion for the game. I try my best to, help them to understand that it's a huge advantage in terms of the support, but there's also a lot of pressure. And I think the best way to handle it is just to acknowledge it and understand that it's there, and understand that, yes, we'll have support, but people will be watching you and are expecting you to be successful. So I encourage our guys every day to use, our time at practice to get better. And I think the more that you put in the work, the more that you put in the time to become a better player, to become a better team, I always felt like it helps take the pressure off a bit, because when you're in that moment and it's time to perform, you're ready. And again, from day one, just acknowledging that it's going to be there, I think it helps our guys to just understand that, that's just part of the challenge as we go forward. But if we can acknowledge it and handle it the right way, we can also use it to our advantage because of the support that we'll get.
Coach Ariel, how about yourself, my friend? What was the pressure and how did you mitigate it?
The main thing is we were able to get the job done because the guys bought into it, and I think we had very good leaders during that championship run in Reggie Johnson and Jason Brickman, who played for Jimmy also. And then with Kwan Yung Jin with the locals, he was able to mesh the locals with the imports, because that's the thing with ABL. As I mentioned, there's a lot of culture involved, and you can't have groups. These have to be one team, one family, and the guys just love being around each other. They watch movies, they go to the gym, and that's how I think we were able to hurdle our challenges, those tough games, because we were really together, and it showed in the court.
Coach Brian, you've been there as a player, you've been there as a coach. I can imagine the kind of pressure you were getting in the NBA. Any stories that you can share with us in terms of, something that happened to you, and in terms of pressure, and how did you mitigate it, and it turned out to be a positive outcome?
Well, I played way back in the ancient days before there was even color TV, so I didn't have the social media problems like the players do today. But that's why I'm not on social media now, because I know that as you put yourself out there, promoting yourself, whatever you may be doing, you also have to deal with negative feedback and criticism. And if you're not built for that, or if you don't have time for that, then it's going to take away your focus. I don't knock social media, but as you see, a lot of times it does get a lot of people in trouble with what they say, how they say it, and things like that. It gives everybody a platform now to be able to voice their opinion about something. And if you sit there and allow that to consume you, where you're reading stuff like that every day, if you're posting stuff every day, then how can you then do your job? That's the way I look at it. And so when I'm overseas coaching, I'm just focusing on trying to beat the next team. I'm not worrying about posting, tweeting. I don't care. I have no interest in that whatsoever. That's just my opinion. I'm old school, but I do understand how it's done today, though.
Okay, now that's a very interesting point that you brought up. You're old school. Like a lot of young guys in your team, but how was their mindset? It's easy for a coach to say, look guys, that stuff is BS, and please don't listen to that. But they're going to check their phone. They're going to listen to the gossip in the coffee shop and the pressure in the locker room.
Because they're doing it, I won't do it. So therefore, I'm going to stay focused. I don't mind them doing it. I know all the players these days have social media platforms, and I don't mind them tweeting and all of that. Just that before practice, turn off your phone. Let's focus on basketball for those next 2-3 hours. And then you go back to your Facebook page, your IG, and all that. I want them to do that because I know that's a part of their lives today. And it's very important, especially when you're abroad, when you're overseas, you want to be in touch with all your friends. So I encourage the players to do that. But at the same time, if you're up at 2 a.m. doing that stuff and we have a game the next day, then it becomes a problem, Yeah. So you got to be able to focus and kind of moderate the time that you put into it. Because I've had some players that had problems on social media where they've been criticized or people have caused them problems by saying certain things. But I tell them, you still have to focus on your job first.